Come on. So in this video, I'm going to try to go over some fool's logic that people continuously fall into. I have to do an internal inventory all the time to make sure I'm not using this same fool's logic. Now, my father and mother, my roommate, and a show that I've seen recently all has explained this as a joke. It's not meant to be a joke. My father and mother didn't understand what they were doing wrong, so it just happened. But I'll give you it. Now, on the show, at the end, the husband gives a wife a coffee mug from the business she's working in. She's going to become a teacher, and he goes, "See this coffee mug? Why don't you take this when you finally get that full-time job working as a teacher and keep your pencils in it at work?" And then right at the end, he goes, "But it can't leave company property." So it can't leave the propane business, meaning she could never use it to hold her pencils at her job. So he's giving her a mug to hold her pencils at a teaching job, but yet she's not allowed to bring it out to her teaching job. It's an oxymoron. I'll give you another one. My father and mother got me a pair of very nice boots that I liked, but they didn't want me bringing them out where they might get stolen. So only 8 days a month I could use them. During winter, we had about maybe 20 days of snow every winter, on maybe 30, I don't know, something like that. And I only can use them 4 days or 8 days a month. So, if you do the math, I maybe only get to use these boots once a year. That's it. If I bring them to the program and they get stolen, I'm in trouble because I'm not supposed to bring the nice stuff to the program. But here's the even kicker to it. My mother gives away my boots that I love, that fit me. They're the only ones that work for me. They're my best boots. All the other ones let water in, everything. My mother gives it away. When I ask her about it, she goes, "Well, you didn't wear them because you wouldn't allow me to wear them. You didn't want me to bring them. You didn't want them to get stolen. You kept on telling me not to bring the nice stuff to the program where I'm spending 26 days a month. When it's snowing out, I'm spending 26 days in the snow in the program and only 8 days at home. So of course I'm not going to be wearing them that often. You have me 26 days a month in a program and you don't want them stolen, so you're keeping them in the house. And then you're stealing them yourself because did you ask me for permission to give away my stuff? No, that's theft. When you give a Christmas gift to somebody, you're not allowed to take it back later. That's considered theft. Once when you give something, like if I took the 12 grand that I bailed my father out on and all the Social Security he owed me and just robbed him and went into his bank account and found some good scammer, that's still theft. Even though he owes me money, even though I was part of it, that's his money. Just because I did something years ago where my father screwed me and took 12 grand, or my Social Security for what it was supposed to be, and I got thrown out of my program. I never got to go into the apartment we were planning on moving me into. I never got to learn how to reapply for Social Security. I never got the skills I was supposed to get because my father was lying to the program. So while the other kids in my situation were getting the skills they needed, I was getting the opposite of the skills I needed because my father was lying about my situation. So, I'll give you another funny example. This guy bought me a nice Carhartt winter heavy jacket. I said, "Oh my God, I love this. This will keep me warm this winter. Thank you so much." It's about Christmas time. It's already cold, so I plan on wearing it outside. But there's a catch. He says, "You're only allowed to wear this winter jacket in my house." So somebody else buys me a big, nice winter jacket, but I'm only allowed to wear this heavy duty winter jacket in an 80-degree house. That means I never ever get to use this jacket because it's a winter jacket to keep you warm outside, but I'm only allowed to keep it in the house where I'll never wear it. So I tell the person, "Well, hang it up, put a frame over it, put it on the wall because that's all it's good for then." And they laughed and said, "What? What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you told me I'm not allowed to wear it outside your house, right?" He goes, "Yes, I don't want it getting stolen, so I don't want it outside this house." I go, "Okay. And I'm only allowed to wear it in this house, which is always 80 degrees, right?" He goes, "Yes." "Well, I'm not going to wear a winter jacket in 80 degrees next to a heater." So it's going to stay hanging up in the closet from now on. That's why instead of having it there, why don't you take the brand new jacket and hang it on the wall? And then he said, oh, yeah, that does seem kind of stupid. Wear it wherever you want. And here's the funny part. Then he lets somebody else borrow it, and they don't return it. Nothing to do with me. Also, when you're living outside, people rob the shit out of you, steal you. I mean, let's say you're staying in the shelter and you have a cell phone you just bought. You sit down and you plug it in the charge. Somebody will swipe that shit while you're staring at it. Let's say you go in the shelter and you have your cell phone in your pocket or on your belt clip. Somebody who's good at pickpocketing will have your cell phone then too. Let's say that you don't want to get stabbed with needles. Don't go to the shelter. Because when I was in the shelter, Lowell shelter, somebody had a needle in their backpack, backed up into me. Their backpack whacked me. I got stabbed by the needle. I looked over. I could see this little prick coming out of the backpack fabric. I said, I think you just stabbed me with something. He goes, oh, really? Sorry. He goes into his backpack, pulls out orange capped on the back syringe. He goes digging in his bag for another orange cap and caps up a syringe and then hides in the bottom of his bag and tells me like, oh, don't tell anybody. Like, gives me that look like, don't tell anybody that I just got stabbed with somebody else's dirty needle. So what do? I go over to the staff and ask them to check the cameras because I just got stabbed with a dirty needle and I don't know what was in it. It's on my side and my back or something. I don't know. And then they say they couldn't see anything on the camera, so they're not going to do anything about it. And then I got tested about a couple years later and they said I had hepatitis. Now this was before I really did anything. I did a couple lines of dope or something like that, and I walked around in these crazy people's houses, and I've had like a needle stick to my shoe, but they didn't go. I don't think it went through my skin. So there's only one situation where I could have caught hepatitis, and that's probably from the shelter. But after I knew I had hepatitis and I couldn't figure out what it was from, is it from me popping pills? Is it from me drinking? Is it from me getting stabbed by somebody else's backpack syringe? Is it from stepping on a syringe even though I don't think it went into my foot? You know, which one of these? Is it because somebody bled on me while I was unconscious? Because people have, fucked me up to steal my wallet or my things. That's common. I've even seen big Marines literally just get fucked up because you don't see it coming. It's not like you get fucked up and you get the fight. It's not like, here, fight me, and then they take your stuff. No. You're walking down the street, and then all of a sudden you feel a brick on the back of the head, you're out, and then you wake up without your shoes. Or something like that. That's usually what it is. It's either with drug addicts, a lot of times they'll try to poison you, and then you'll go out. I knew one guy who used to switch people's drugs so they would pass out and then take it. Or some people would wait until somebody did so much dope that they, nodded and then robbed them. But for me, the way they robbed me was I would just be walking down the street, maybe they're in a doorway someplace, and bam, in the back of the head. And this was already after years of seizures. This is already, people pickpocketing. This is all over the shelters. It's not like I'm the only target. And luckily, I learned to put up a fight and make it worth it. If you want to take my shit and I see you trying to take my shit, you're going to get hurt. You're not going to rob me, hit me, and take my shit. And I learned that if you don't do that, if you actually give the people your money, like let's say you're in the shelter and somebody holds a knife to you and says, give me your money and give me your wallet. Give me your phone and wallet. You know what happens if you give them your phone and your wallet? The next day, somebody else will rob you. And the next week, somebody else will rob you. Then somebody will hit you over the head with a brick. Then somebody will stab you because you had no more money. It becomes an everyday, every week occurrence. They say that kid is you can punk him. He'll give you his stuff if you just scare him. Luckily, I could never be punked. I always told the motherfuckers no because I watched